Steph Curry isn't a point guard. Well, according to Richard Jefferson, that's what he thinks.
I think Steph is a two guard. Every single thing about his game says that he's a two guard. And people get mad and they're like, no, he's a point guard. But it's like, he doesn't truly initiate the offense. He doesn't lead his team to assists. Like his most deadly game, even though his handle is crazy, his most deadly thing about him is when he plays off the ball.
So is Richard Jefferson correct? Just because he doesn't initiate the offense, does that make him a bad point guard? And does Curry not being an assist leader affect his point guard status? Before we deep dive to all these questions, let's first answer, what is a point guard? The point guard is one of the 5 common basketball positions that has a primary role of initiating the offense as well as dribbling, passing the ball, and ultimately creating scoring opportunities near the basket and near the perimeter. And by definition, that means Curry done these things, right? Yeah, but you can argue no. It's usually known for Draymond to initiate the offense. Even Chris Paul there, he doesn't have to initiate the offense if he doesn't want to. Look at this play from Chris Paul. He notices that the help defense isn't fully there yet, which allows Wiggins to set a screen and gives Curry a bit of time to break down his defender and take the shot. And this gives the Warriors an advantage, having another player that can see stuff like this. Now it's time to get into Steph playstyle. Steph is usually known to play off ball and sometimes run around screens, but Steph can dribble the ball to set up his defender to score for 3 or pass to a teammate to lose the defender to take an open shot. By any means, this is not a bad playstyle. This is actually the smartest playstyle you can have, especially as the elite scorer that he is. But then again, some people think this is the way that true point guards play the game. Some think he's not necessarily looking for opportunities for his teammates to score, but by definition, he is looking for scoring opportunities. Now, let's get into the PG's job. The point guard job is facilitating and creating opportunities for his or her teammates to score, meaning they typically try to generate points for the offense by dribbling, passing, driving, and shooting capabilities. Curry possesses all these traits, so no doubt about it, he's the best shooter of all time. Why, might you ask? Why do people question his point guard ability? The only argument they have is that he doesn't initiate the offense, and that most of the plays are strictly drawn for him to score, not pass the ball like that, meaning he has more shooting guard capabilities than he does point guard abilities. Now, what the hell is a shooting guard? The shooting guard is one of the 5 common basketball positions, and the primary role for this player is to score points. It means his job is to get buckets by any means necessary. And by the sounds of it, that could be Curry. He does shoot from the perimeter and he 3-point hunts, and he definitely can create shot separation for a shot if he needs it. Curry is a walking bucket. He can score at will. And fun fact, even the Warriors before they even drafted him think he wasn't a true point guard. When you think of true point guards, you think of Magic Johnson, Chris Paul, and John Stockton. Their stats speak for themselves. They're high in assist leaders. They're known as pass-first point guards. And if you look at Magic Johnson, he's literally doing it all. If you try to compare stats, I think it's completely unfair. But if you want to go there, statistically speaking, Magic is better overall. Curry hasn't beaten shooting and scoring, but everything else, Magic has it. And of course, you're going to bring rings to the conversation. Magic has 5, Curry has 4. Me personally, I don't think rings determine your position, just your individual success. But that's for you to decide in the comments. I think there are very many different variations of the PG today. We got the facilitator, the scorer, and defensive point guard. The game has changed in the past 10 to 20 years. We evolved in the 3-point era, and it's fast paced now. There are a lot more scoring point guards than there is pass first point guards today. Yeah, that style of play is just not apparent today as it once was before. The guards today initiate the offense by dribbling and trying to create shooting opportunities. Their teammates are still involved, of course, but most of them are trying to generate points for their team if needed. And Curry is the definition of what they're doing today, a scoring guard. Many believe he changed the game of how he is viewed as a point guard. Another example of a scoring guard is Damian Lillard. He is known to be deadly with the pick and roll, but he also has a lethal 3-point shot. And now being paired with Giannis, it allows him to make the right decision to the roller every time. And if you want to go back a little bit farther, think of Gilbert Arenas, another scoring guard. He had stretches that were unbelievable for a PG to have at that time. From 2005 to 2007, he averaged 27.7 points per game. He even dropped 60 points on Kobe. In the 2000s, what point guard you know at that time is doing that? For the last couple of years, the point guard's average height was 6'2.5". But there's been some players who are taller and can play PG just as good or even better. Just look at LeBron. He was 6'9" and known to play point guard at a point in time in his career. Of course there's Magic, but then there's Luka, 6'7" or 6'8", literally doing everything. But for all the variables, does height play a factor being a PG? No, not really, because there's no height requirements for any position. But obviously you wouldn't want a center to be 6'1". There are some cases where players' height don't match their position that they're playing. Just look at Donovan Mitchell, 6'1" shooting guard. Most people at that height stick to point guard because it's easier, but since he scores the ball so well and creates separation, There's really no need for him to be a point guard. He can play off ball and always try to take high quality shots around the perimeter. Another example of a short guard was Allen Iverson. He's 6 foot. Some say he's 5'11", but he played shooting guard. And AI's playstyle was to dribble the ball, create separation, and take high quality shots off the dribble. I could talk about other short guards or other players who are short for the position, but the point is their height didn't define their position. So in Curry's case, being 6'3" or being 6'2" automatically doesn't make him a point guard. Is Steph Curry a point guard? I know I asked this 1,000 times, but the answer is yes. I stressed it enough in this video, but he possesses the capabilities to initiate the offense at any time. Just because he chooses not to or his teammates automatically do it, doesn't mean he can't do it at all. Come on now, he can create dribbling opportunities and make the right play to his teammates if needed. And yes, his primary focus is to try to generate as much points as possible. And yes, he's not an assist leader and not going to be an assist leader. But not doing these things is not going to take away from the fact that he still is a point guard. Because if that's the case, then Gary Payton, Mike Conley, Drew Holiday, and Marcus Smart are defensive guards. Does that make them less of a point guard? Their primary focus is defense and stopping the best player. And what about John Morant? He's a slashing point guard. He tries to destroy anybody in the paint at all times. Just because today's point guard's main focus isn't facilitating the ball doesn't take away the fact that they're still point guards. They're not traditional point guards. They're scoring point guards, and the game has changed today. It's more fast-paced and more three-point hunting. And if this video can convince you that he's a point guard, I don't know what will.
He's not the main ball handler for his team. I would have to say you're right, and you have a lot of questions, but it doesn't really matter what position you play, it's just can you play basketball, and we just figure it out. So you want to call Draymond the point guard and me the shooting guard? Sounds great.